Alright guys, so the Mark IV Golf is making some problems. I will lift the car up and then you will probably see the problem. The handbrake is applied with full power, but also I can rotate the wheel. This indicates that the brake piston is stuck or the lever for the brake cable is stuck. I will take a closer look at it when I remove the wheel. I banged my finger against the brake disc. It hurts so bad. But the wheel is off and I can now take a closer look at this. The primary problem is not the lever, but the piston itself. Because the lever does move, but there is very little force applied to the brake disc. I will now loosen this bolt as well as this bolt to loosen the caliper. I will then probably be able to pull it off. Okay, so here we have the brake piston. Here we have the lever. So it is a little bit movable. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so it is probably not able to be seen, but it is a little bit movable. So there is hope. Okay, so I will try to lift this boot up and then put some rust dissolver in and also soak this part on the rear. After blasting it with a lot of rust dissolver, I noticed that the boot was completely removed. So this is the bare piston. This makes sense that this has seized. So, alright, I will now remove this rubber piece because at the moment it doesn't help us at all. And I will now spray it again a little bit and then wait for like 15 minutes. Okay, there's no chance this piston is coming out. So I have already clamped off this brake line. You shouldn't do this, but whatever. Alright, I will now remove this the brake cable for the handbrake as well as the line for the brake fluid. Then I could probably take the piston and move on to the workbench. Alright, so the piston is in the workbench and I will now use pliers to pull it out. The piston was kinda screwed out. The piston is out and I'm now polishing it with 3000 grit sandpaper because the surface is very whack. Alright, the piston is relatively shiny again. I mean, there are marks in there, but for a little golf it will probably be fine. I will now reinstall the piston. At first I will put in the rubber seal. The trick is to get it a little bit over the piston and then fade it in like that so that the rubber seal is in at first. Then the piston can be pushed in. Don't use too much force and it is also to screw, so it is a little stupid. Okay, I've put the boot back on and the piston is in. It has to be screwed, but also in the first few moments to be clamped. I don't know how far I need it, but I figure it will probably need a little bit more. Change of plan, I got my hands on a new kit, so I removed this ring and then I will install just this ring. But first I have to clean this up. Okay, so the piston is installed. It was very hard to install, so it wasn't able to be filmed. At first I will install the brake cable and after that the brake line. I have now installed the brake line as well as the handbrake cable. This was very shit work and I had to loosen it inside. I didn't film it because I was already mad. I have tightened those. The brake pads are in. So I will now bleed the brakes with my dad. The brakes are already bled and I can now install the wheel and then do a test drive. Okay, so the foot brake works much better again, but the handbrake still doesn't work because the cable apparently is short. Spontaneously I will just oil it up, but for that I have to remove it and then put it back in. So at the first move I'm going to remove this cup so that I can rip it out. Okay, now we have to pry those things off. Then you have to take something, pry this one off, that one and that one. Just like that. Okay, then you push down on those buttons. You may be able to pull it out. Now take the, I don't know, 10, 11 millimeter and then screw off this nut so that you can loosen this. I managed to get the nut off, and this cable just pulls out to the side. I will push this thing down and then pull on this thing using some clamps. Then I might be able to slide it down and to the side so I can take it out. When you have this piece out, you then go around this part and just rip on that part until it is out. Before you pull on it, this grommet should be taken out. Okay, if you have gotten the cable so far out, you can then try to pull this one out. After lots of pain, I got this piece of shit out. To make it go in again, I will fill it up with some rusty sulfur and then wiggle it around a bit. I hope it works because today I can't buy anything. I filled it with oil and now I can even pull it up like that. So it is very easy to do. I will now try to reinstall it and then test if it works. Okay, first part of installation. Pull it in from there until it is out on that hole. Okay, the grommet is installed and now I will hang it on there. I will fade this part into this tube. Make sure to press it in really good and also to make sure all the clips are in. Here it is just hooked in, and now on the back side I will put it into the lever. Now I have to pull on this, like first up there and then in there. Okay, I've gotten it in and I will now tighten the bolt inside. Then I can mount the wheel and reinstall the plastic. Okay, I've installed the wheel and lowered the car down. And now I have reinstalled the plastic. I've tightened the cables so that I can pull it easily and the wheel still tighten up. I will now go for a little test drive.